Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are your express route to cutting through the noise and getting the absolute most critical, actionable intelligence you need this week.
And we are not messing around today. We're doing all the heavy lifting for you.
That's right. Forget 80 different blogs.
Today, we have a phenomenal, really dense stack of intelligence in front of us. It's Andrew Kagan's curated weekly technical news, dated November 28th, 2025.
And this isn't just theory, is it? This is like a real-time snapshot of where enterprise tech is headed.
It's pure velocity. And the scope is, well, it's huge. We're hitting 8 major domains.
Yeah, everything from Azure Cloud Identity and critical security patches all the way up to, DeepMind's latest research into mathematical proofs.
And our mission isn't just to summarize. It's to really extract the deep implications. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly why a 1980s authentication protocol is suddenly key to modern cloud files.
And you'll also know what massive security vulnerability you have to patch, like yesterday. Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with one of the biggest ongoing headaches for IT teams, identity management in the cloud. We're starting in Azure.
Right. So the Azure section is really highlighting the final steps needed for truly cloud-native identity solutions, specifically for file storage.
That's the phrase that matters, isn't it? Entra only. I feel like organizations have been trying to ditch their last on-prem Active Directory server for years.
They have, and file shares are almost always what keeps them tethered to those legacy domain controllers.
So what's the news that finally cuts the cord?
Well, the most compelling item here is a video guide. It's called Azure Files plus Entra ID Kerberos, full setup guide.
Hold on. Kerberos, that's decades-old tech.
Yeah.
If Entra ID is pure cloud, why are we dragging a legacy protocol like Kerberos into the mix? Isn't that a step backward?
You'd think so, but that's the critical insight. It's not a step backward. It's the bridge.
The bridge to what?
The bridge that lets you finally get rid of the on-prem domain controller entirely. By fully integrating that enterprise-grade Kerberos authentication with Entra ID, Microsoft removes the last major friction point.
The complex file permissions and group policy stuff.
Exactly. This is a massive operational win. It means companies can finally truly decommission those last servers. It's pure, seamless, cloud-driven authentication for your shared data.
Wow. Okay, that actually is a huge deal. And it's a phenomenal transition point, too.
How so?
Because once you have that secure cloud-native access, you use that identity to transform your whole productivity suite.
Which brings us to Microsoft 365.
Where AI is now the primary driver of change.
It's not just a driver. It feels like it's the whole engine now. The sources are talking about the intranet reimagined with AI.
Right, and that's backed by the Copilot-powered SharePoint video. SharePoint is no longer just a place to dump files. It's becoming an intelligent, agent-driven platform for organizational knowledge. Okay, but if you have AI agents running wild and transforming content, IT admins have to know what's happening under the hood.
Of course.
And what stood out to me here was this sudden push for better monitoring.
Yes, Sysmin. The sources highlight that Sysmin is officially coming to Windows. For threat hunters and admins, this is huge.
Can you explain what Sysmin is for anyone who doesn't live and breathe this stuff?
Sure, it's a deep kernel-level monitoring tool. It sees everything, and the implication is clear. As AI accelerates activity on a machine, the operating system itself needs to give you more robust, granular visibility.
So you can catch sophisticated threats.
And potentially police what those AI agents are actually doing. You're connecting the dots. Sysmin is the tool we need to trust the black box.
Right, right. And speaking of trust and management, the sources also confirm the continued evolution away from old-school infrastructure.
You're talking about the SCCM and WSUS in a hybrid world piece.
Yeah, focused on cloud-native patching.
It just confirms reality, doesn't it? You can't run the fastest AI stack in the world if you're still relying on slow on-prem systems like WSUS for patching. The path is hybrid, but it's leading towards fully cloud-integrated management.
We also saw those smaller but, really appreciated quality of life updates.
Like the new app updates page in Windows 11 settings.
And the updated Notepad for Windows insiders. It shows they're paying attention to the big AI transformation and the everyday user experience.
Definitely. So moving on from the broad M365 platform, let's quickly touch on the low-code space. Power Platform and Dynamics 365.
The theme here feels like the professionalization of low-code. It's not just for hobbyists anymore.
Not at all. And if you're a PRO user in this space, efficiency is everything. That's why a resource like Power BI Shortcuts every PRO should know is so immediately valuable.
Low-code doesn't mean low skill. If you spend your whole day building data models, those shortcuts add up fast.
They translate directly into velocity. And on top of that, we saw the Power BI image visual enhancements.
Why does enhancing image visuals matter so much? It seems like a small thing.
Because data presentation is everything in business intelligence. I mean, if you can't properly integrate and display crucial visual assets, logos, product images, that kind of thing, the entire dashboard loses credibility.
The final product just doesn't look professional.
Exactly. This refinement shows a real maturity in the platform's presentation layer.
Okay, so let's dive into the really messy part. DevOps, SRE, and infrastructure. This is where AI stops being just a helpful co-pilot.
And becomes a critical part of the software supply chain itself. In this segment, it raises the most serious governance questions.
Yeah, I saw that. When AI agents are writing and testing code, how do you secure it? The sources really force you to confront this.
There's rethinking the software supply chain for agents and the critical need for humans in the loop, governing AI agents across the SDLC.
The software supply chain used to be about checking your third-party libraries. Now it's about code that an AI generated instantly.
An AI that might have learned from vulnerable patterns out on the internet. You can't just rely on manual reviews anymore. You need automated guardrails.
You have to tame the beast.
Precisely. That's why the guidance on taming AI-assisted coding models is so relevant. We all want the speed of AI-accelerated development, but you cannot compromise on DevSecOps governance.
So the human isn't there to write the code anymore.
The human is there to define the secure constraints for the agents.
That's a big shift. And for the underlying infrastructure, we saw the top 5 best practices for Dockerized MCP servers.
Right. MCP, the Model Context Protocol. It's the open standard that lets AI models talk to external data and tools. So hardening the systems that host that communication layer it's essential.
Okay, now let's shift to just pure capability expansion in data analytics and AI. The pace here is, well, it's just breathtaking.
It really is. I was struck by the performance jumps in really specific niche fields.
Like the headline, DeepSeek OCR is insane.
Exactly. OCR, optical character recognition, is notoriously difficult, especially with messy documents. When a model gets called insane, it means there's been a giant leap in accuracy.
Which matters for real business processes.
Absolutely. Then, shifting from niche accuracy to broader operational capability, we see FARA 7B. It's described as an efficient agentic model for computer use.
Okay, break that down. What does agentic model for computer use actually mean for the listener?
It means it's not optimized just to write a paragraph for you. It's optimized to execute tasks, to interact with GUIs, run scripts, navigate files.
So it's a doer, not just a talker.
It's an action taker. And being efficient means it can do this at a fraction of the cost or latency of a massive model like GPT-4. It's built for rapid, reliable automation.
That's the practical stuff. But the pure research, that's what really blew me away. DeepMind's work on AI for mathematical proofs. This isn't just crunching numbers. This is abstract reasoning. It's generating and verifying complex theorems that used to be the domain of elite human mathematicians.
It completely changes the definition of what advanced AI reasoning even is. And, underpinning all of this is the plumbing.
Right.
We're seeing deep infrastructure work like understanding the activity protocol and effective harnesses for long-running agents. This is the engineering required to let agents collaborate with other agents A2A collaboration reliably over days or weeks, not just minutes.
And to tie that all back to the enterprise world, there's a new practical feature in Fabric. Manage environment configuration with variable libraries.
Which is exactly the kind of production-level governance you need to handle these complex AI and data environments.
Okay, we've talked development and data. Now we pivot to defense. Because this week's security section has it's a mandatory stop what you're doing security alert.
You are absolutely right. Top of the list. Azure Bastion CVE 2025-49752. It's a critical elevation of privilege vulnerability.
So if you use Azure Bastion for secure remote connections, this has to be patched. Now,
a critical EOP vuln in a core access tool like Bastion. That's the kind of thing that bypasses all your other security layers. It is an immediate, high-severity compromise risk. You cannot ignore it.
And on the defensive side, we're seeing continuous hardening from Microsoft. They're securing Entra ID sign-ins from script injection attacks.
That constant vigilance on the identity layer is crucial. But what's fascinating is seeing how the other side continues to evolve.
What do you mean?
The news that Tor adopts counter-Galois onion relay encryption.
Okay, why does a new encryption standard for Tor matter to an enterprise admin?
Because it shows the constant technological arms race. Whether it's used by privacy advocates or criminals on the dark web, adopting enhanced encryption raises the standard for everyone.
It means the tools used by your adversaries are getting more sophisticated.
Exactly. It forces your security teams to constantly advance their detection capabilities.
And for those higher-level discussions, the sources point to the CXO Trust Summit 2025 playlist. So leadership is clearly focused on how to manage this escalating risk.
Well, given the rapid acceleration we've discussed across all these domains, the AI transformation, new governance, immediate threats, it creates a massive upskilling imperative.
So what's the immediate path forward for you, the listener, to level up? I mean, the single clearest resource is the news that Microsoft is offering free AI courses with certificates.
That's a zero-friction entry point for formal learning. And the learning is highly specific and practical. Note the course on how to compress prompts and reduce LLM costs.
That's pure ROI right there. Reducing token usage with smart prompting can save organizations a ton of money as they scale up their AI use.
It's operational efficiency in action. And we're moving beyond just simple prompting. The resources also cover building agents with Copilot Studio and Microsoft Foundry.
So that takes you from basic usage right into complex system architecture.
The ability to actually deploy and govern those multi-step AI agents we talked about earlier.
Okay, finally, let's pull back and look at the long-term trajectory, the massive industry challenges shaping the next decade.
Fei Li's vision is a really profound place to start. She's focusing on spatial intelligence, world models, and the future of AI.
Which is the philosophical framework for AI moving past just language, right?
And toward a true understanding of and interaction with the physical world.
But you have to contrast that ambitious vision with the harsh engineering reality in something like quantum computing. The sources state it bluntly. Error correction, now the industry's defining challenge.
Quantum error correction, QEC, is the absolute bottleneck. Think of it like this. A quantum computer needs this perfect, stable environment to keep its fragile calculations from collapsing. QEC is the engineering that provides that stability, and it is incredibly hard to scale.
And yet, we see relentless progress from vendors like IBM. They claim they're scaling beyond our roadmap with networked quantum computers.
It just highlights that incredible tension between fundamental physics hurdles and brute force engineering.
And to ground all this innovation and risk back in the real world, we end the news cycle with a report that Crisis 24 shuts down emergency notification system after ransomware attack.
Wow.
An organization designed to notify people during emergencies was itself taken offline by a cyber attack. That is a brutal, high-consequence reminder.
It makes it all real, doesn't it? All this cutting-edge research doesn't matter if you miss a patch like that critical Azure Bastion CVE.
Absolutely. It grounds this entire deep dive in reality. The advanced tech is thrilling, but basic security hygiene remains mission-critical.
So we have just synthesized the absolute most critical, immediate, and surprising updates across the entire tech landscape for this week. You now have a shortcut to being well-informed.
And if we synthesize everything from Kerberos in the cloud to Sysmin-watching AI agents to DeepMind solving math proofs, the common theme is inescapable, isn't it?
It's the operationalization and governance of sophisticated autonomous AI agents. It's everywhere.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting and where we want to leave you with a provocative thought. If we are already governing agent-to-agent protocols and relying on models like FAIR7B to perform operational tasks, and if AI can prove complex mathematical theorems, what essential high-level human-only tasks will you need to retain mastery over in the next 5 years?
The shift isn't just about learning to prompt. It's about learning to govern, to question the output, and to define the ethical and strategic constraints for these systems. So what skills must you prioritize that an efficient agent simply cannot replicate?
Fantastic food for thought. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the latest intelligence. Now go explore those insights.